Welcome to the Real Estate Show, brought to you by Capital One Group, LLC. ERIC Wilner, president of Capital One Group, LLC, is a highly trained financial professional. He helps clients to develop strategies for effectively utilizing real estate, mortgages, and related financial products to achieve a more secure financial future. For the real estate investor or the home buyer, he's able to provide expertise in matching the right properties and financing with your specific financial objectives. This show is dedicated to helping you find the safe and simple approach to buying income-producing real estate. If you have any questions about the program or to arrange a consultation, call toll-free 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. Now, today's edition of The Real Estate Show.
And hello, South Florida. Hello to all of our listeners here in the AM 740 listening area here in South Florida, as well as the 96.9 FM listening area. I want to say also a very special hello to all of our listeners out there on the internet who are listening to us anywhere around the world where internet is provided. And that's because you can listen to our show live streaming on the internet on my website, which is www.automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. You can also listen to us on the WSBR app if you want to take us with you. There's a number of apps that provide access to this radio program that is heard live Monday through Friday. So each and every morning, all you have to do is tap the TuneIn app, the iHeartRadio app, or our very own app, the WSBR. That's WSBR. And then just download that app. Look for this program at 8 o'clock. That's 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. So we got a very special show for you. In fact, we got a very special week lined up for you. What I plan on doing right here is kind of breaking down the formula, maybe the recipe, if you will, on buying real estate and how to make money in real estate. And it comes down to about 5 items, 5 key steps, if you will. And what I plan to do this week is each day break down one of those steps. And then at the end of the week, we'll put it all together and see how this can help you out. But first of all, I want to thank our sponsors, particularly Capital One Group, who is your one-stop source for all of your property management and support services. If you will check us out at www.automaticlandlord.com, you get all the information that you need about our property management services, and hopefully you'll check us out. And of course, if there's anything that you want to do in real estate or want to bounce some ideas in the real estate world, give us a call. The call is free. It's toll free. It's 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. We're coming off a incredibly busy week traveling. We've been all over the country in the last couple of months looking at the properties, and in particular looking at different markets. We talked about how to be able to come into any market out there and really with certain specific parameters be able to break down what the market is doing. And we have ways of, first of all, finding out where the activity is, find out where the affordability is, and that takes into consideration, certain benchmarks, certain statistics, which, by the way, are readily available out there. So the neat thing about that is anybody can do that. There's very little cost, and it's really more an investment of your time than it is of the money. And then by looking at the affordability, we can tell whether it's a good rental market, whether it's a good market for buying and reselling, whether there's opportunity. We can even tell in advance whether there's inventory in that marketplace, and we can also tell whether there's a ready, willing, and able audience of buyers in that marketplace. So kind of a key thing going on there, and especially when you look at it right now, the market is really poised very well for real estate. And when you look at all of the different advances that have happened in the marketplace, if you look at some of the advances in the prices in the marketplace, one thing that I'm hearing over and over from many of the local investors, even in their markets, and that doesn't matter whether I'm talking about the Arizona market, the California market, or whether we're looking more at the East Coast market from Charlotte, where we've been in the Northeast market in New Jersey just most recently. In fact, we spent the last Thursday and Friday just outside of New York City. And of course, you want to talk about an area where there's lots of money, lots of people, and lots of demand. And yet, in the course of 2 days, we were able to discover 4 vacant houses. And in the process of discovering those 4 vacant houses, we also discovered one seller who was literally willing to give us over the deed to the property and let us just simply take over the payments of the mortgage. And this is having started no particular marketing campaign. And even though I hate to say that because then people don't put in the effort, but as we're going to talk about in today's program, the number one aspect of doing well in real estate is creating a flow of leads. And I'm going to talk about today how to generate that flow of lead virtually from nothing, and in some cases with very little resources. And a lot of what I talk about, and I'll reemphasize this, a lot of what I talk about can be done with very little of your own resources. I don't always need I don't need cash or down payments or large money up front. I don't always need people with verifiable income. I don't always need people with good credit. Those are all pluses. And as I often also say, is that having the resources and the cash accelerates the time period. In other words, I can accelerate the time curve with those assets. But without those assets, even without those assets, you can build up a nice real estate portfolio, a profitable real estate portfolio, and you can do that all in a reasonable amount of time. So where I think a lot of people kind of drop off the cliff on this situation or in this scenario is when they don't have the persistence, the tenacity, or the patience to do that. So what ends up happening is you have a person who comes in strong for a very short period of time, then they get blocked because either they don't get the response rate that they want right up front, or they don't get the progress that they expect up front. And sometimes this is, a game of resistance, and as I also like to say, that gentle persistence breaks down resistance. And we've had situations and deals that we worked on for as long as years, 3-4 years that we worked on a deal, and it finally came over. And then we have situations where, like I just gave you an example, where just in the process of looking at some properties, we run into somebody on our way, somebody completely unpredicted and not even on the radar. We start talking to them and find out that they're very motivated sellers, and that they're very flexible in their terms. So there's lots of situations out there why someone would do something like that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that after the break. This is a very good time for real estate, and I'm more convinced than ever before after spending just outside New York City, like I said, where there's lots of demand, a very strong Northeast market right now, and yet we're able to make that kind of headway in there. So if you're local here in this area and you think that the market is saturated, that the market has appreciated too much, take a pause and think about it again. Because we've been in some of the strongest markets in New York. We've been in some of the strongest markets in Southern California. And in every situation, we're able to find properties that can be bought affordable enough for them to be good investment properties, to then either be improved or just to be resold to the retail market. Now, there's really only 2 reasons why real estate doesn't sell. And those 2 reasons are either pricing, the properties are not priced correctly, or there is a lack of marketing. So those 2 things, if you can solve them or recognize them to solve them, you can move just about any property out there. And it doesn't matter the condition of the property. A lot of things don't matter. But if there's nothing fundamentally wrong with the property, for example, it's located next to a toxic dump site, or the property is condemned in some way. But if that's not the case, it's marketing and it's price. Anyway, I'm going to get into the step number 1 is to develop the leads to find the properties. If you have a steady stream of leads, and this is the key thing, because I also come across clients who they find one property and I give them credit for the tenacity, but because they won't let go of that property. But when you only have one property to work on, then when that property doesn't work out, all is lost. When you have a steady stream of properties and one doesn't work out, well, you have several more to work on. So anyway, we're going to come back. We're going to talk about that in a minute, right after this break. After all, you are listening to The Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Wilner. Don't touch that dial, because we'll be right back.
Today's real estate market is full of questions. Eric Wilner and Capital One Group LLC have the answers. Call today for a no-obligation consultation and get the facts. 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. You'll learn the safe and simple approach to buying income-producing real estate. And you'll find out how to get the right real estate investments for your specific investment objectives. Plus, you'll have immediate access to cutting-edge mortgage and financing products. Be sure to ask about free property management on select investment properties. Call today for your no-obligation consultation and get the facts. 888-595-7779. Toll free, 888-595-7779.
Hello, listeners. This is Eric Wilner, your host of The Real Estate Show. Exciting news. We now have a Facebook page. Now, this is an opportunity for us to share with you photos and videos and interviews and lots more information on a regular basis on our Facebook page. But to make it really exciting, we want your input. We want your comments, and most of all, we want your likes. And that will make us a much better radio show, and our Facebook page will be a real resource for you. So check us out at facebook.com/The Real Estate Show. That's facebook.com/The Real Estate Show. And give us a thumbs up.
I said, damn, there's traffic jam.
Well, there you are, sitting in traffic like thousands of other motorists listening to Eric Wilner's Real Estate Show. Here's a thought. If you're listening, so are potential customers and clients. Radio advertising works. So become an advertiser or sponsor guest on Eric's show. Get your message heard. Call 1-888-595-7779. That's 1-888-595-7779. Your customers and clients are waiting to hear from you.
I said, damn, there's traffic jam.
Call 1-888-595-7779.
Are you paying for a home that is losing value every month? Do you owe $400,000 and your home is worth only $300,000 and still dropping? Do you want to know more about what the government is doing to help you? You have options. Don't just give up or walk away. Know your rights. Fight back. Fistel Law Firm can help you. Call for a free consultation today. 954-522-1212. 954-522-1212. Or on the web, fistel.com.
This is The Real Estate Show, brought to you by Capital One Group LLC in Boca Raton, with your host, Eric Wilner. If you have any questions about the broadcast, call toll-free, 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. Now, back to today's show.
And welcome back. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to The Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program, South Florida's longest running program all about real estate. And believe it or not, the nation's longest running program, run each and every weekday morning from 8 until 8:30. That's 5 days a week from 8 until 8:30 during your drive time, whether it be to work or to school or wherever you may be going. And if you're listening to us sitting down and you want to hear us crystal clear, catch us on your computer at www.automaticlandlord.com, or take us with you using the WSBR radio app. You can download that for free. It's available on either the Android store or the Apple store, where you download your apps. And just look for the green little app, WSBR, the radio station, and then, of course, then tune in at the right time. Now, you can also listen to our program on demand, and that's one of the things that we've implemented just recently. We hope you like it. The way that we know if you like it is to go to our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/The Real Estate Show. And then, of course, you can listen to audio of our past programs This program will be up there in about 24 to 48 hours. And we're also now including videos of our radio program. So like I said, we invite you to come listen to it on demand. You can take us with you no matter where you are, and you can listen to us on demand. And all that we ask is that when you do visit our Facebook page is that you press or click on the thumbs up. Let us know that what we're doing is helpful, it's useful, and we'll keep doing it. And then, of course, if we find out that the interest there has dropped off, or that there's less demand for that, then we'll go do something else. But for the last 17 years, uninterrupted, through good times and through bad times, we've been here on the air bringing you as much information and knowledge. We believe that the educated consumer is the best consumer to work with, and we want to help out those folks here. The stronger the real estate market, the stronger the economy. The stronger the economy, the stronger the country. And of course, now during election time, when we're hearing all the different election pitches, one thing that you can know for sure is that real estate has always been a pillar of the economy. Also, real estate is the number one asset that an individual can buy. We talk about our 5-star approach to real estate, and that, of course, is that real estate generates income. Unlike many investments that only depend on appreciation, real estate has income deposited monthly into your bank. When we're talking about rental income, we're talking about tax advantages. Real estate offers you more tax advantages than any other investment vehicle out there, period. And then we have the equity buildup through the pay down of the financing. If you do finance real estate and you have tenants paying in there, giving you a positive cash flow, well, before you get the net amount of that cash flow, you're getting the benefit of a mortgage being paid down, the equity that's building up through the pay down of that mortgage. So even in a flat market, and especially in a rising market, it only accelerates the process of building up equity. But even in a flat market, you're still building equity in properties. And I got so many stories that I want to tell you about just recently, talking to so many different people about the real estate that they have and how far it's come from, the absolute depths of despair that many people were having, because the economy as a whole was in the tank, and real estate was not an exception. But those people who had the right real estate, who had paid attention to my comment, cash flow, cash flow, cash flow, were able to sit and ride out the storm, and today are sitting better than ever. In fact, as good as they were, we've seen the marketplace now basically return to where it was before the Great Recession, as they call it, and in many cases even better. And those people who were courageous enough to buy some of the property in that time period are doing very well right now. In fact, probably the biggest regret that I hear from those investors is they wish they had more money. And I'm one of them. He says, I wish I had more money at that time to be able to buy more properties, because just about everything, in fact, I would say everything that we bought during that time today is worth a lot more than what we purchased it for, and would have loved to have done more. So we talked about the income, the tax advantage. We talked about the equity buildup, and then, as I mentioned, appreciation. Some assets only depend on the price of gold. The only way you make money is if gold goes up. And when everything seems to be in chaos, you hear all the gold sellers come out and take over the airways, the TVs, the ads, the newspapers, and then they quietly go away again when the economy returns. So it's a very opportunistic, instead of real estate, which is a very strategic way to build wealth. In there's really only one path, and if you look over time, the performance of that versus real estate, you'll see that there's no contest, there's no comparison. And then on top of that, real estate offers the ability to provide leverage. In other words, you can control a $100,000 property using some of the 3% down, like FHA loans, allows you to control a $100,000 property with less than $4,000. So there's indisputably the best investment vehicle out there is real estate. So what I wanted to spend, and as I said, that there's a 5-step approach to buying real estate. Step number 1 is to find the leads. The leads in order to be able to filter out what are the good deals versus the bad deals. And the process of getting leads is probably the most overlooked, underutilized, poorly planned step. And of course, it is step 1. Without step 1, there is no step 2 through 5. So if I could emphasize one thing that I do to my clients, that I do to my all the investors that I work with, as well as to all of our listeners out there, the number one thing that if you are thinking of getting into real estate, the number one thing that you need to think about is, how am I going to get a steady flow of leads? And let me talk about a couple of those right here. Number one, of course, what most people do is that they rely on the internet, and they go out there and they look at such lists as, Craigslist. They look at some of the realtor-sponsored websites like Trulia, Redfin, and those are just to name a few. Probably every real estate company that's of any size has a website out there where they also rebroadcast all of the MLS properties. Now, if you remember, because we talk about this also pretty often, is that the MLS represents about 2.5% of the marketplace, 3% at the very most in most places. So of all the properties that could possibly be available for sale, the MLS represents a tiny portion of the real estate market. And when you think about the fact that everybody goes to the MLS, good for the people marketing on the MLS, and which is why more properties sell that way. Not so good for the investor trying to get a really good deal, because if that's his only strategy, there's a number of challenges that go with that. But the first thing is the MLS. If you have access to it directly, you can do that through Realtor.com. You can do that through some of these websites that I just mentioned that are sponsored by the real estate companies. Then you're getting limited amount of information, and that's by strategy on the marketer side. They're trying to control how they capture the information, because after all, on your side, you're trying to buy the properties, and those are your leads. But you searching for the properties through some of these MLS is because you are becoming the lead for somebody else. So it's really more in their interest, and how it's set up is really more about what they do. You have a better chance using some of the other strategies, on a probability or percentage-wise, because it's only a small percentages on the MLS. And number two is that whose agenda now are you going to be following? Is it going to be your agenda, which is to find the most motivated sellers and the best discounted deals, or is it going to be their agenda of trying to sell you the property at the highest possible price to earn a highest possible commission? So there is a bit of an adversarial situation. I'm not saying that every realtor out there is an adversary, but their agenda is clearly different than the investor's agenda, which is, again, a whole other process and a whole other conversation. The second thing that we talk about, besides the regular internet, is working with specifically investor-friendly realtors. Now, investor-friendly realtors is a hard thing to find, because most realtors are brought up and coached by their respective companies to go out there and sell properties at the highest price for the sellers. Remember, realtors contractually, legally represent the seller. That's who they sign the listing contract with, and that's who they're obligated to provide information. Their fiduciary responsibility is to the seller, and therefore, like I said, their agenda is guided by that. And unless you engage a real estate agent as a buyer's agent to represent you, and we can talk about those implications at another time. But to find an investor-friendly realtor, the one that already works with investors as their sole, or at least their primary influence. Any realtor that you ask, if you ask them if they'll work with investors, will probably say yes. There are a few that say no, because that's not their market. But most of them are going to tell you that they've worked with an investor. I'm looking for a real estate agent that is focused on working with investors, who has access to investor type properties, and who has an eye for real estate investments. I also want to know, do they own real estate? Because until you own investment properties, you don't know the experience that is owning investment properties, what it's like to deal with tenants, what it's like to pay all of the taxes, the insurance, and all the expenses in order to clear a positive cash flow. And then, of course, you want to know what kind of real estate that they own. Is it just their personal residence, or is it investment property? Is it commercial? Is it multifamily, et cetera? And then the next thing that you want to be able to do is direct mail. And direct mail is one of the most underutilized, most feared way of finding properties, but probably one of the most effective ways of finding property. So step number one is to create a source and a steady stream of leads. That's going to be our step for today. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to evaluate a deal, whether a good deal or deal is a good deal or not. And that's the key to whether we're going to go to step 3. So keep in mind, if you have any questions, certainly send it to us. You can go and send us questions on automaticlandlord.com. That's www.automaticlandlord.com. You can also send us a message on Facebook at The Real Estate Show, or you can always use the handy-dandy 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. Well, that's it for today's show. This is Eric Wilner signing off. Until tomorrow, drive safe and make it a great day.
Thanks for listening to The Real Estate Show, brought to you by Capital One Group LLC in Boca Raton. Eric Wilner and Capital One Group LLC are available to assist you with your financial needs. If you have any questions about today's program or to arrange a consultation, call toll-free at 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. And join us every day at the same time right here on AM 740 WSBR, South Florida's Money Talk Radio.